All right, diet, motivation, and body image. We're gonna see this influencer make mistakes with all three with his daughters, but he's doing it in a way that's actually really popular and really common. It's a really common mistake, and I think it's really important to watch to see examples of what not to do. Let's take a look. It's a little bit cringy, but I think it's important. We're gonna take a look at it from the psychological science perspective and see what we can learn from this. All right, let's dive in.
On the six pack, let's see if you got it. My daughters, Sophia and Kira, before we did this event, it was about 2 months ago, I said, hey, we're gonna go to Dubai. They're 12 and 9, and they're like eating junk food.
They're 12 and 9.
And running around like most kids. And I said, hey, you guys wanna really push yourself? I said, if you guys can get a six pack by the David Goggins event, I'm gonna take you guys on a shopping spree with whatever you want.
Okay, 12 and 9, don't need to be worrying about getting six packs for an event, and like, we're gonna get into shopping spree as a motivation.
I don't care. Girls, show them the six pack. Let's see if you got it.
Oh, I'm gonna blur out the kids because I feel like they're being exploited here, and I don't wanna be a part of that.
Don't be shy. Show
That's kind of weird, right?
them your six pack. She's 12 years old, she's 9 years old. And some of you are like, oh, put your daughter's clothes on. It's called fitness, idiot. I don't know what.
I don't know if that is fitness. I mean, it's like a symbol of fitness, but we'll get into... When he said when they didn't want to show their bodies to a crowd of people, and he's like, don't be shy, a little part of me died inside.
Family you live in, but we're a fitness family. We take care of ourselves. We want to be an example for other kids. To give anybody a message, there's a mic. What would you say?
To stop wishing and you have to start working. Pain is temporary, but regret lasts forever.
Tell them like you.
So like regurgitating thought, terminating cliches. Okay, there's a lot going on here. Okay, so if you threw up in your mouth a little bit when you saw that, or you felt like you were dying inside, that's what most of the reaction videos have been. Have mostly just been people just like having like a visceral reaction to watching this guy present his daughters on stage like that. There are three things we want to look at, and we're going to go through all of them looking at them from a perspective of psychological science, right? There are a lot of things that feel like they should work, that feel like they're the right thing to do, that research shows, research suggests is really the horribly wrong thing to do. And we're gonna be looking at, you don't have to take my word for it, we're gonna be looking at primarily from a self-determination theory perspective. Self-determination theory is the preeminent theory of intrinsic motivation and well-being. And intrinsic motivation is really important because intrinsic motivation is how you do things long-term. We have about 40 years of research on self-determination theory and a ton of research, especially on health behavior. And so this is an extreme, like when I say theory, a lot of times people use the word theory about like, I had an idea. This isn't like that. This is 40 years of having a concept and then empirical research, refining the concept, and then doing more empirical research on the refined concept. Like it's pretty sharp. We've got a pretty solid idea of what has people do health behaviors long term. And this isn't it. This absolutely is not it. So let's get into it. Okay, let's talk fitness motivation. You want to make changes to your diet or to your workouts, and you want these changes to last long term. What do? Should you reward yourself? And if you want your kids to make changes like that, should you reward them for making those changes? The research strongly leans towards no. There's a lot of, the research into self-determination theory would suggest that extrinsic rewards for behavior can diminish intrinsic motivation, right? Like the motivation that you want to do it, because it's like, if you meet someone that's a runner, if you meet someone that's been a runner for 20 years, and you ask them about why they run, they're mostly going to say like, oh, it helps me reduce stress, or I like the way I feel after a run, or, you know, I love going to running event. You know, there are all these things that matter to them inside that have them do it long term. And who knows, maybe they got a reward 20 years ago that got them started. That's fine, but that's not why they're doing it anymore. The thing about rewards is if you want to reward people, if you want to if you want to have someone do a behavior, if you reward them, you need to keep rewarding them nearly constantly. If his kids are gonna make these changes for a shopping spree, then he needs to give them shopping sprees constantly, right? They're doing it for the shopping spree. That's the opposite of what we want. And research, it's a little more nuanced than to say that adding rewards will always diminish intrinsic motivation, but it happens a lot. It's most likely to diminish your intrinsic enjoyment of doing a thing, or the values connection you have, that something is meaningful to you. It's most likely to be diminished by intrinsic rewards when it feels coercive. And this looked coercive to me. This looked like really coaching. Like, this is what you do if you're super at helping people to change their behavior. You coerce them with an extrinsic reward. That's like when you have no idea what the you're doing. And so that's the impression I get from him based on this video. I don't know him, but this video is dog shit. If you are actually a good coach, or you actually want to change behavior for yourself, like if you're a good coach, you have conversations with people about what matters to them, about what they care about inside, about the kind of person that they want to be. And like, that's not a one and done conversation. This is work. This is a conversation that you need to have repeatedly over months. If this is something that you're doing for yourself, you need to journal about it. You need to look at, what are the kinds of character strengths that I want to embody? What's the kind of person I want to be around my fitness? And what does it look like to make choices that go in that direction? And you need to get real about that for yourself inside, not what looks good for other people, not how to like prop up your self-esteem, not how to avoid guilt, not how to avoid shame. That's all really motivation. We know from self-determination theory that there are 6 levels of motivation. There's no motivation, there's reward and punishment, there's guilt and contingent self-esteem, there's identified values. There are values that are so integrated with your sense of self that you wouldn't know yourself if you weren't taking those behaviors. And then there's things that you just like intrinsically enjoy doing. Obviously, we want to pull more from this side than we do. Like, reward and punishment is right next to no motivation at all. It's not that it doesn't work. It's that, again, it's so fleeting. It's so fleeting, and it's so coercive, and it's such coaching. So we want to start looking at, what's the kind of person you want to be? What values do you identify with? And can you make those choices because they matter to you, right? You don't have to base everything around like looking good for other people. People don't do art because they got a reward. Emergency room doctors don't save people's lives because they're gonna get a gold star at the end of the day. They do it because it matters to them inside. Parents aren't good parents because they're gonna get a high five. They're good parents because it matters to them deeply. And when you can connect to the kind of person that you want to be about fitness and draw from that, then that, like, the research is so clear that that's what has people do health behaviors long term. And so rewarding your kids with a shopping spree, big thumbs down. Having conversations with them over and over again about what matters to them, that's a thumbs up for motivation. Let's talk about age of first diet. Okay, he's having these kids diet. He's having these girls diet at 9 and 12. That matters because there's a correlation, there's a relationship between age of first diet and risky dieting behaviors. There's also a correlation between age of first diet and weight cycling. Weight cycling is when you lose weight and then you regain it, and then you lose weight and then you regain it, and then you lose weight and you regain it, you lose weight and regain it. You've got a lifetime of losing and regaining the same weight, right? Or weight cycling can also be losing weight and then gaining more, right? And then losing weight and then gaining more. But like, it's like for anyone that's been there, that's exhausting. That's like demoralizing. It's freaking terrible. And age of first diet has a correlation with weight cycling. Oh, it also has a correlation with higher BMI overall. So like if you want someone to have a lower BMI, then starting them dieting early correlates with not that. One thing that's cool is that we have some twin studies. Twin studies are cool because twins have they've got the same genetics, they've got the same upbringing, the same environment. And so you can look at like, if one of them has a drastically different relationship to food and body, then that's cool, right? We know that was a learned thing. And age of first diet absolutely correlates with weight cycling in twins. And so the twin study had 900 plus twins. And so that's really cool, right? I mean, it's not cool. It's actually like terrible for this video for starting a 9-year-old dieting, much less a 12-year-old. But so we've got research that would strongly suggest that starting your daughter's dieting at 9 and 12 is about the dumbest thing you could do in the world if you care about their like lifetime weight and lifetime weight cycling, much less if you cared about risky dieting behavior. I have concerns about. So here's the thing. I think this dude really cares about his kids, and he really wants them to eat healthy, and he wants them to be fit, and other things. For him, abs are a symbol of health, and intuitively, it really seemed to him like coercing his daughters into dieting was like a health move, right? And it's just really clear from the research that coercion is going to reduce motivation, and the early dieting is going to set them up for a lifetime of weight losing and gaining because they're dieting in stupid ways that tend to show up when people started dieting early. And so there's another one of those things where just because it feels right or seems intuitive doesn't mean that it is. The best thing about research is that we can see the things that feel intuitively right. They're dead wrong. So if you care about your kids eating healthy, what do? Number one thing, eat dinner with them if you can. Research shows that in observational research, we find that parents that eat dinner with their kids just naturally eat more fruits and vegetables. They don't have to like talk to them about fruits and vegetables. They don't have to like push it on them. They don't like kids that eat a meal with their parents tend to eat more fruits and vegetables. That's kind of cool, right? Another thing, you can look at Ellen Satter's division of responsibility in feeding. Ellen Satter has this great framework. The short version of her division of responsibility in feeding with parents and children is that the parents are responsible for what kids eat and when, and the kids are responsible for how much or if. So the parents are like, here's dinner, it's this healthy stuff. You don't need to like coerce them about cleaning their plates. You don't need to force them to eat too little. You just give them healthy food and they'll stop when they're full. Don't even listen to me about eating. Go look at Ellen Satter's division of food and responsibility. It's a great place to start for healthy relationship with food for kids. You should put vegetables on the plate. You should give them healthy food. That's your responsibility, right? You should model healthy eating. If you're modeling healthy eating, then they're going to there's a stronger chance they'll follow. But like that's your responsibility, not coercing them into restricted diets. If you wanted to go really next level, you could come back to the values conversation, and you could talk to them about your values around eating and body, and have conversations where they're figuring out their own values around eating and body. And so this kind of circles back to the motivation conversation. and making decisions from your values. This, of course, requires that you've actually sorted out healthy values about eating and body for yourself, which may require work or coaching or therapy or whatever you need to do. But it can really work to have those kinds of conversations also. You're sharing your values around eating and allowing them to come up with their own, and you can contrast like values and what matters to you and the kind of person that you want to be versus societal standards of beauty and looking good for other people. Okay, here's where things get really gnarly. We're gonna look at objectification, and which is looking at your body as an object, right? Where your body is a status symbol. Your body is an object that you use to garner the favor of others. Self-objectification is correlated with depression. The strongest relationship between self-objectification and depression shows up in adolescent girls. And so self-objectification is learned. It's learned either from peers or media or from parents. And actually, parental objectification is, obviously that has an impact. And so here we're watching a father objectify his daughters and teach them to objectify themselves and have an entire audience of people objectify them. And the audience thing is really interesting because there's research on objectification and audience ideation, right? The way that a kid imagines their body being perceived by an audience is actually that's a big driver, right? It doesn't go directly from objectification to depression. This audience ideation can be a big factor. And the thing is is the kid imagining that that the people around them are an audience, looking at their body, and two, how much does the audience care about how their body looks, right? And so you take two young girls and you stand them up in front of a literal audience, and you have that audience cheering for them having abs. You're creating a pretty that's a pretty strong learning experience. And then you start looking at the research on social media, and then you put that same video up. You take it from a literal audience of people cheering for their body to an audience of millions on Instagram, and it's wow, you're going way out of your way to teach your daughters that their bodies are objects for other people to approve of or disapprove of. And if they've got abs, they will get more approval. And so you take that lesson and you give that to young girls from their parents, and there's a high correlation with depression. And the stronger the body objectification goes, then the stronger the correlation with depression. And so this is just so terrible. It's hard to even wrap my head around. And I want to believe that this dude's got good intentions, that maybe he really thinks that abs are a symbol of fitness. But there's a big conversation to be had there about the difference between symbols of things and the actual things, right? And people that are obsessed with symbols and status, these are heavy extrinsic motivators. It's correlated with much lower well-being long term. It's another one of those things where all these things are so fleeting, right? The motivation from bribing someone is fleeting. The result of dieting on weight is fleeting. The result of objectification can actually, so here's where things get nuanced, right? I'm not gonna bullshit you, right? I'm gonna give you all of it. Some research that has found that if a woman is really fit or really good looking, that getting compliments on her appearance, getting objectified on her appearance actually provides a temporary boost of self-esteem. But so like, it's not that there's no boost of, but like the key word is temporary, right? It's fleeting. And so if you want to set people up to be like constantly chasing that kind of approval, like, this is how you do it, right? Like everything here, everything in this video was set up for like fleeting wins and long-term disaster, right? Motivation that lasts till you get the shopping spree, and then you need another shopping spree. The diet that works for a little while, but then you cycle for the rest of your life. And then objectification that can like make you feel good for a couple moments, then it doesn't stick. And so all three of these things, they're better ways. They're better ways. They're such better ways. Let's talk about better ways. Okay. Number one, you want to be able to do things long term. You want to be able to create health behaviors and have them stick. You need to stop going from reward and punishment and guilt and contingent self-esteem and start going to values, right? And then like really next level could be even like the things you actually enjoy about doing the thing. So you're having conversations about the kind of person that you want to be, right? Character strengths, things like conscientiousness or connectedness, or being present, or being mindful, or self-compassion. Self-compassion, people don't realize self-compassion actually correlates with more health behavior rather than less. There's nurturing self-compassion, fierce self-compassion, that's a bird walk. But you want to look at the kind of person, you want to either be talking with someone else about the kind of person they want to be, or journaling with yourself about the kind of person that you want to be about health behavior. And this doesn't create some kind of like magic motivation where you always want to do it. It's the opposite of that. This is the reason to do the things even when you don't want to, right? You want to be that kind of person, then it's about doing those things that match the kind of person that you want to be, even when you don't want to, even when it's hard, right? Contextually based, right? Obviously, there's a whole conversation around like modifying behavior in different contexts. But really what we're getting at is finding a way to match the kind of person that you want to be in health behavior, right? That's the long-term thing. Finding those things that you actually enjoy, like that are good for you about it, right? Where you work out and you're like, oh, I feel strong, or like I have less stress when I work out, or it just makes me feel like I like that feeling after I'm done. Those kinds of things are the things that you can tap into, but I actually prefer to start with character strength, start with the values, start with the kind of person that you want to be, and start making choices that match that. And then you can even contrast that with that pull to take health behaviors to look good for other people or match societal standards of beauty. And you might say, Josh, it's the same health behaviors. Like, what if I have a balanced meal because I, want to match the societal standard, or because I feel guilty when I don't, or because someone shamed me about it in 5th grade? What if that's the same balanced meal as the balanced meal that I have because it makes me feel connected and wise? It can be the same behavior, but it functions differently for you when you're making that choice based on the kind of person you want to be. And there are certain edge cases where you'll actually make different choices, and those edge cases are the ones that will determine whether you have a healthy or unhealthy relationship to eating and nutrition. But that's another video. Next thing, dieting. Instead of dieting, what do? You want a behavioral approach. You want a behavioral approach to eating. And I call it skills. Some people call it habits. There are other things around like intuitive eating. There are different approaches, but you want to learn behaviors that take you in the direction of what matters to you. So you're looking at You're looking at the behaviors, which could be things like eating slower or stopping when full, or distinguishing stress from hunger, or like not having the delicious thing just because you saw it, right? Like working on the ability to be with that wanting without having to act on it, or the disappointment of when delicious food ends and you stopped at a reasonable amount. Like working on those kinds of behaviors as you develop competence with those kinds of behaviors, then you're actually developing the skills to be the kind of person that you wanted to be, that we just sorted out when we were talking about motivation. So when we're talking about motivation, we're talking about like autonomy, like acting in line with what matters to you. And now we're talking about developing the skills, the behaviors that match that kind of person that you want to be. It's actually like an integrated system. It's actually in self-determination theory, autonomy and competence, developing that skill. Those are two factors in basic psychological needs. People actually have a higher well-being when they're doing things that match what matters to them, and when they feel like they are getting better, when they're developing their skill, when they're developing competence, when they're getting better at the kinds of behaviors that take them in that direction. Third thing is objectification. Instead of objectifying yourself, what you do is start actually looking at what matters to you in your life besides just your body. Your body absolutely should be a thing that matters to you, right? You should care about your physical health. You can even care about how you look. Like that's actually not a bad thing. It's just how much of that, like if you had a pie chart of all the things that matter to you in your life, then how big a slice is that? How much, is how you look? How big a slice is how you look in terms of the pie chart of all the things that matter to you? If it's a big slice of the pie, that's a problem. That's actually unhealthy. If it's not a slice of the pie, that's kind of concerning either. Like people should brush their teeth and get haircuts and wear things that are appropriate to the environments that they're, right? Like there's nothing wrong with caring about how you look. There's nothing wrong with even like caring about how your physical appearance looks and working out and eating if that matches your values, right? If that matches the kind of person that you want to be. Like these things can all fit together, but your appearance shouldn't be a huge slice of the pie. It shouldn't be getting in the way of the other things, like the other slices of the pie. That's a real red flag. So you should be looking at the whole pie, and then you should stop using your body to try and buy people liking you. It doesn't work, right? People might be attracted to status in a certain way, but that doesn't buy you actual connection and people like liking who you are as a person, and you're having good character and listening to people and loving people and caring and being cared about people and like having fun with people. That kind of relatedness, you can't buy it with abs. You can't buy it with status. You can get likes on Facebook. You can get a certain kind of admiration, but it's not the same as having a close friend. And your close friend won't give a if you have abs or not, right? Two different things: status and like connection with people, like relatedness, like actual like love, right? And so lean into the love, not the status. I mean, it's really sad that today people have so little love and connection that they're trying to buy it with status, and status actually isn't the currency that gets that, right? What gets that is like actual connection and appropriate vulnerability and caring about people and interest and showing up for people when it's hard. That all takes real work. And that's the biggest thing about all of this stuff. Again, like the cheap motivation from coercion with a bribe is, it's like, it's being unwilling to do the real work of like figuring out what matters to people. The dieting is like the cheap, easy, like shortcut to looking healthy when you're not willing to do the work of actually developing skills around eating. And the status is like the shortcut. It's like the cheap way to try and buy love that doesn't get it. If you're doing the real work, you'd actually you'd actually like invest in relationships, and you would invest in skills, and you would invest in figuring out what really matters to you. And as far as it goes, that relatedness is the third basic psychological need of the three basic psychological needs in self-determination theory: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. This video, he thwarted every single one with coercion and dieting is kind of like skipping skills, and then objectification instead of relatedness. And it breaks my heart, because I think there's a lot of people doing stuff like that who might be like coming from a place of wanting to do good and actually doing harm. It's setting people up for quick wins that lead to long-term repeated failures. And I think that's a metaphor for the entire nutrition industry. And we've got to do better than that. We've got to do the real work. We've got to do the real work. Meaning, skills, connection with people.